you?
I know, even in the springtime, we as animal printed up. Okay. Hey, LinkedIn. And whoever else watching, YouTube, whatever. Welcome back to the Audacity School podcast. I am Desiree Cocroft with Destination Life.
Yes, and I am Erica Lynette with Divinement, and today we are here to discuss how to overcome career stagnation. I am excited about this
Oh,
one.
me
We've been having some
too.
really good topics. I'm excited about all of them, but
Yeah.
this one is a good one. Overcoming career stagnation and how to reignite your career growth. So, yeah, let's go on and jump in.
Yeah, we can jump right in because you know what? Most of the clients I've worked, not most, I'll say some of the newer clients that
Hmm.
I've worked with are either currently having that experience or have had that experience, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so, and even like people in my peer circles, have had that experience or are currently having that experience. It's that whole quiet quitting, right?
yeah.
And so it's really important, like recognizing the signs of career stagnation.
Hmm.
Myself and another executive coach, Dorian, on LinkedIn, we created like a PDF carousel about like knowing when to quit.
Yes, that was good. I saw that. It
Oh,
was
you
really
did?
good.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, but this is what
yes.
I'm thinking of because we were just talking about like, our own life and other, people that we worked with. Just there are just so many common factors, right? And so
Yeah.
if you don't know what this means, and I'm sure you do, even just by the feeling of our conversation,
Hmm.
career stagnation, job stagnation, call it whatever you want, it can really manifest as this feeling of boredom or unfulfillment or
Hmm.
unchallenged or even when you feel like undervalued, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Underappreciated. You just not it's just you're going nowhere or you just don't
Right.
feel aligned. That's our one of our pillars is alignment, right?
Exactly.
Not feeling
Exactly.
that alignment. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and when we're thinking about stagnation, it's like things are just stale. They may have just plateaued, and
Yeah.
like you said, they're not going anywhere. And so it's also possibly an indication that there's just a lack of opportunity where you are.
That's true.
Maybe there aren't opportunities for growth in the area that you're in or on the team that
Yeah.
you're on. Maybe in your department overall. So that can be an indication because that will definitely impact your career advancement opportunities, which means there won't be many at all or any.
Right.
If that's how you're feeling or if that's what you're experiencing. So, this is really serious stuff, and it can lead to a whole onset of other issues, but we'll keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, we can talk about each of these like bullets we got in front of us for a whole
Yes.
hour. Listen,
Absolutely.
but we don't have that kind of time today, you all. So, and neither do you, right? So we really want you to, take some time and reflect as we're talking about this
Mhm.
topic. Like, think about your current role, your current career path, your current trajectory. Are there signs of stagnation? And maybe
Yeah.
you've been feeling these feelings, but we want you to think about, literally, are there things that you have identified as stagnation and think about, is this something that, you feel stagnant about and you actually want to improve
Hmm.
on it? You want it to change because a lot of times we can feel like this for a small amount of time or sometimes for years on end in a career, but
True.
we don't make a move, right? And so
Exactly.
we want you to really focus on like, okay, what is an area that you feel stagnant and do you want it to improve? Because it can improve while you stay in the position, or sometimes, you have to throw it all out and
Hmm.
start anew. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and that's a perfect segue into what we want to talk about next, which is just the whole idea of continuous learning.
Yeah.
Because it seems elementary, when you really
Mhm.
break it down, but it's something that we need to keep doing, and we touched on that, even last week with our discussion. But that just continually learning, continually. I'm going to get that word right. Progressing. And that's what's going to help us overcome that stagnation,
Mhm.
that career stagnation, and that's being
Yeah.
intentional. The whole idea is to be intentional about getting new skills, acquiring new
Yeah.
skills, being intentional about acquiring more knowledge, getting into rooms, new experiences, different things that will help you stay relevant. That's
Yeah.
the thing. We want to make sure we're still relevant and
Right.
still offering value, showing our value, wherever we are in the spaces that we're in, and that we're still competitive. So
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's really important to, like you said, do those things regardless of, like maybe you're not feeling stagnant right now.
yeah.
But I think it's so important to just do it regardless, right? Because
Hmm.
again, it helps you stay in alignment to the things that you enjoy and who you are. And
Yes.
as you progress in your professional development, you'll discover the new things or the nuances that you want to experience in your career. And it gives you a really great data point on whether or
Mm-hmm.
not what you're experiencing right now is something that is aligned with this new experience and professional development you had, this new discovery about yourself.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that are going to help you decide, like, is this something that I can work with within this organization, even within
Mm-hmm.
this position, or do I need to make some moves, right? And so by investing in your professional development, you really can open up new opportunities or reignite passions for your career, but definitely start seeing different ways that you can pursue things, because sometimes we just stay in the learning phase, the professional
Yeah.
development phase for so long, that we, get dissatisfied by the organization or the position that we're in without kind of
Mm-hmm.
making that connection. The
Yeah.
connection to, these are the things I'm learning. I might need a different space where I can actually implement some of those things instead of, kind of using that as an outlet without thinking about, like, well, what's a path that's going to help me have more experiences
Right.
along what I enjoy. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. And being willing to get outside of that comfort zone,
Hmm.
and really just break that mold of that stagnation. So
Yeah.
what we want you to do is take action this week. Identify one skill, just one, that you want to improve upon and learn,
Yeah.
that can help you overcome career stagnation. And then just, be intentional about looking up different resources, checking into different resources that can help you in that area, where you can start actually taking action and learning this week, because that's the thing with Audacity School. We're all about taking action. It's not
Hmm.
about just hearing this information and just, taking notes. We want to make sure that we're implementing what we're learning as well, so that we can get to the places that we aspire to get to. Because again,
Hmm.
that's what Audacity is all about, being bold and taking those
Yeah.
steps. So,
Yeah. And taking action is what gets us out of this self-doubt
yeah,
cycle, get out of this cycle,
exactly.
stagnation, right?
Right,
We got to take
right.
some action if we want to get out of that cycle of stagnation. So for sure. And so,
Yeah.
one of those strategies that we want to talk about is, like, how do we, like, really reignite our career growth? So we talked
Hmm.
about the importance of continuous learning, but when we want to ignite our career goal, we literally need to set, like, well, what are our goals? Like, after you start
Right.
learning more about yourself, and relearning about yourself, because sometimes we should
Hmm.
never stop learning, but sometimes we get so
Right.
comfortable we stop learning about what we want, what we desire, especially women, in my opinion, especially when
Hmm.
not even that you've grown in your leadership career, but even in your personal life, like, sometimes we just forget about ourselves.
Oh yeah,
And so, you know what I mean? And
we do.
so, because we forget about ourselves sometimes, I think it's really important that when we are setting clear, achievable goals, you got to do that first part, that continuous learning of
Yeah.
who you are before you start doing that. But just give yourself permission to set goals and be okay. And if your goals have changed, because you have changed,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
Like, you
Exactly.
have changed. You are a different
Yeah.
person. You weren't who you were even a year ago,
Yeah.
depending on what your growth path looks like. And so, what can be a strategy that is clear, achievable for your career development? And then, start making moves on a plan to reach those goals aligned with this new desire that you have in your career. And that might be scary if you got to leave, but it might be the
Yeah.
best decision you need to make, because what's worse is staying in stagnation.
Exactly. Exactly. I have so many peers who have really and truly left comfortable positions
Yeah.
and taken that step and taken that risk to take on new positions, and they are soaring now. I mean, you're talking about going from non-management positions, and now one of them is like the chief diversity officer, another's a chief
Ah,
people officer. I mean,
yeah.
these are some bold moves that these women made.
Right.
So that's what it's going to take. And so as we talk about that, with the goal setting and everything. Also, another thing is to get feedback, request feedback. That's something I don't think that we do that often as well.
Yeah.
Just really requesting authentic feedback from mentors, colleagues, even those who are our reporting managers, our supervisors, where they can help us to identify areas for growth, and just maybe bring to light some things that we're just not aware of.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if some of you may be familiar with like the 360 tool. I did that with a peer and some other colleagues, and it's very insightful to really find out what people think, and it can be very helpful when it's
Yeah.
constructive. So
Yeah.
ask for that feedback. It'll
Yeah.
help.
And definitely like on that feedback tip, like making sure that it doesn't matter whether you're leaving or not, right?
Right.
Like, like
Exactly.
just this is going to help you like and get your ego out of the way so that you can,
Yes.
and then take it with a grain of salt. It's like, you got to balance it, because if you feel like you're in a toxic environment with people that may not necessarily give you feedback that's constructive because of the
Mm-hmm.
environment that you're in, you could take that feedback with a grain of salt. But at the same time, like it's something valuable about hearing the voices of others. So I think that that's awesome,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you plan to stay in or not. But ultimately, one of our call to actions is set a goal. That's what we said in the beginning of this section of reigniting your career growth. Like, set a goal about your career growth. Like, make sure you're creating a plan. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people do SMART goals, but whatever your goal setting, like standard is or process is, make sure that you use it to help you grow in this area, because we spend so much time focusing on our career. We need to have something that is not going to cause us to feel stuck. Not
Right.
40 hours a week, 20 hours, whatever. We spend a lot of
Yeah.
time here. So it
That's
might as
right.
well be something that is going to be fulfilling, or we need to find some peace with where we
Mm-hmm.
are. And so share it with someone. And that's the other part of this. We have goals that kind of sit lofty, but when you share it with someone that's going to hold you down about it, you're not going to
Yes.
sit. I was just talking to a peer and revisiting a conversation we were having about their career,
Uh-huh.
and uh, and it's just because they shared with me. I'm not their coach. They just
Mm-hmm.
shared with me some things about their career, and yeah, because they shared that goal with me. Yep,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, hey, so what's
Yeah,
up with
I heard a
that,
track
right?
on it. Right.
And
Yeah.
they can't sleep on it, but they also have given me permission to be in their life in a place
Nice.
where they're open to, my feedback
Good.
around a thing. So make sure you're sharing it with someone that can not just
Mm-hmm.
hold you accountable, but that you're open to their accountability.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so as we take all of that into consideration, we want to, delve into another point that we touched on just a little bit, and that's really the whole notion around taking risk. Because,
Yeah.
being intentional and taking that leap is really what's going to matter, and embracing that change. Because, if we really want to overcome career stagnation, it's going to have to be, that it's going to have to require that we step outside of our comfort zone. We cannot stay where we are and
Mhm.
expect something different. They say that's the definition of insanity, doing the same
Yeah.
thing and expecting a different result. We can't expect that. So we're going to have to get uncomfortable, or get
Mhm.
comfortable with being uncomfortable, for a little bit. And it's not that we have to live in that discomfort the whole time, but
Right.
that may be what it takes to propel us to, something greater. So, just really embrace that change, be intentional, take that leap.
Yeah.
That's really the start of getting out of that rut.
Yeah, and when we have a very clear plan and we have an accountability
Yes.
person, it's gonna be way more easy,
Yeah,
right? It's gonna be way
it is.
easier to embrace change and take risks when you have someone that's in your corner. Community
Mm-hmm.
is so important. We talk about community being one of the most important things, like having those voices that are helping you
Yeah.
move through that area of change or taking risks. So it may
Mm-hmm.
involve, taking on new challenges with the goal that you set for yourself, doing something different, doing something new, or changing companies, changing careers
Right.
altogether, like being in a whole nother industry
Yeah.
altogether. I've been so inspired by so many people that I've seen just make industry jumps. Even
Yes.
people that I don't even know, like people that I'm peeking on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
listening to their stories is so inspired. And so it can happen, and it definitely can happen when you kind of like set your sights on, this is the kind of career path that I want to experience. This is the kind of life I want to
Mhm.
experience. And
Yeah.
I want to experience that regardless of whether it's here or not. I'm not tied to this one place that I'm in.
Right, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, for this week, as take action, just identify one area. Again, we're not trying to have you feel overwhelmed at all, but just
Yeah.
pinpoint one area that you can step outside of your comfort zone and really be
Mhm.
intentional about, making that change, and, just disrupting things a little bit, in a good way,
Yeah.
being audacious a little bit. And,
Yeah.
so take a small risk, and then, make sure that it aligns with your career goals. And
Mhm.
this could be, it could even be something, a personal goal.
Yeah.
We say career goals, but this, as we think about alignment, it all ties together, the personal and the professional. So we have to be aligned personally in order to be
Yeah.
aligned professionally. So,
Yeah.
even if you take that risk with something personally, do so,
Yeah.
just identify something.
Yeah, no, I love that. And when you're identifying it, as we're wrapping up, when you're identifying it, we really want to challenge you to think about like, well, what is the skill that I have to learn, right?
Yeah.
Because of the thing that I plan on doing. Because a lot of the times, I definitely run into people when they want to do something new, but now they have this skill gap,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
sometimes that keeps them from wanting to continue to work through their discomfort, getting out of their comfort zone, because
Right.
of that skill gap. So when you think about that goal, right, that will help you kind of like not be stagnant anymore, and it's going to push you out
Mhm.
of your comfort zone, think about what is that new skill that you need to learn, want to learn, desire to learn, that's really going
Yeah.
to get you over the hump, right? And consider what resources you need, what people do you need, what coaching, what courses that you can start using like literally this week. There's so
Yes.
many resources out here. You don't have to like wait until later. It's so much information we can get to do what we need to do.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Mhm.
as you, take time to identify that skill and then start taking steps to implement it, maybe that's doing the initial research. Maybe it's actually doing the skill and practicing it. Also always take that time to reflect. We say that every week, because we really believe in that reflection time and the
Yeah,
importance of that. So take time to reflect on it and think about how did that impact you. Did you feel like you were less than? Did you feel like you had a can-do spirit, you could keep going? How did it impact your mindset? Think
yeah,
about that, and then also how the approach to your career. So just make sure you have some reflection time, and figure out what you can learn from that.
yeah. No, absolutely. I love that the plug for reflection is there,
Yeah,
right? Before, during, after, just all the time,
yeah,
just
yeah.
reevaluating for sure.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
as we've been talking about, overcoming career stagnation, it really requires a proactive approach, right, to our personal development. We can't, and our professional development, both.
Yes,
We can't grow. We're not going to get out of it unless we take some initiation, right? We start
yeah,
initiating change and just acknowledge like we're not crazy. Our feelings about where
right.
we are is not like weird.
They're valid. Yeah, they are valid.
Yeah, they're so thank you. Valid, that's the
Mhm.
word. They're not
Yeah,
weird, they're valid. Exactly.
they are valid.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as we, recognize what those signs of stagnation are, because, again, we keep honing in on reflection, recognize the signs, and then
Mhm.
not just recognize them, but then take steps to, make
Yeah,
that continuous improvement, to start learning and setting some goals, embrace
yeah.
change, be willing to get
Mhm.
out of your comfort zone. Again, it seems like a lot, but, by doing all of these things and just taking it step by step, you're going to reignite your career.
Yeah,
You're going to be more audacious. You're going to feel it. It's going to be
yeah.
an inside job first, and then you'll
Mhm.
start seeing the results on the outside as well, and then you'll start being able to achieve new heights with your career and just success overall.
Yeah,
So yeah, you can
I
do
love
it.
it. You
Let's keep
can't
it
listen,
moving.
you can do
You
it.
can do it. All
Yes.
right, all right. So thank you again for joining us. That's all we have for
Yeah.
today. I am Erica Lynette.
And I am Desiree Cochrane. And you know what, Erica? I forgot this is our last episode before the end of Women's History Month. This is the last week in March.
Oh
So I was
wow!
like,
Yes.
we should have said something in the beginning, but we should continue to celebrate women,
Yes.
obviously throughout the year. But I don't know. I'm like, it's the end of Women's History Month. Like, it's a big deal. So I
How
know it's been a lot
how
of celebrations happening
how
the whole
appropriate.
month.
Yes.
It is appropriate. That yeah, with that for real, right? That we end the month talking about
Yeah.
get out of whatever is stagnant.
Yes.
Because you know what, we've had
Wonderful.
mad examples of
Hmm.
awesome
Hmm.
women that have done amazing things in their lives, whether it's
Oh yeah.
past, present, and there's so many people that I'm excited about their futures,
Yeah.
including you all. So yes, we want to just give you the opportunity to celebrate the people in your life and celebrate
Hmm.
yourselves too, just as women making history, right?
Yes, and making moves audaciously.
Yes. Yes, audaciously. Yes, I love the word. All right, so this has been the Audacity School. We look forward to seeing you. Spring is here. So
Yes, it is.
we will see you next week. Have a great day.